we're actually live or not. Well, I think we're live. I'm not sure. I have no idea. Let's have a look, see what it's saying here. I don't know. Well, it says we're live, so we'll go anyway. Right. Hopefully she's working, I don't know. But basically this is how to service an NEQ6. What we're going to do here, well, let me just change that one back to there. See what's going on, I don't know. Right, let's have this one back up. Right. Well, morning peoples. Let's hope that this is going to be working. NEQ6. This one is a belt modded NEQ6. It's come to me because it's got problems. So we're going to strip it down, see what it's doing, hopefully find out why it's not doing what it should. As it's a belt mod, the first thing we're going to have to do is take the motors out. So the first thing you need to do is undo the 4 screws that hold the circuit boards. You need the 4 corner screws, that's all. When you take this panel out, be very careful because the wires are pretty tight in here. So what you need to do is you need to just gently ease it out like that. And as you can see in the front of here, you have some sets of wires. Let me just, I don't know if I dare move that. Let me turn that around that way and you'll be able to see. There we go. You just need to unplug these. These are your motor wires and the light for the polar alignment. Just unplug them and just pull out, and you can put that somewhere safe. Now at this stage, what I like to do is mark the motor. Let me just grab the camera. Sorry if this is going to shake about, but you'll see inside there the motors. You have the 2 motors. This one's for your deck. This one this side, there you go, is the RA. So what I'll do is I'll mark the RA so it goes back where it came from. You just, oh, I just hope it's with this webcam. There you go. So we'll take a pen and we'll mark up the RA so it motor so it goes back where it comes from. Right, let's have this webcam again. Inside here you can see the motors, and the motors are secured by these 2 Allen bolts. Well, can you see that? There you go. Which at each corner. Another thing. There's one here. Can you see that? I don't know if this is pretty hopeless, but anyway, you'll see when you look inside. What we're going to do, I can spin that round so you can see inside it. Take your Allen key, and undo these two screws. There's one. You have to do this with a belt modded mount because you have to remove the motor from the belt, as the belts are internal. So just literally play with this, take the motor out. Oh, let go. If it won't come out, you can slacken off, which I'll show you in a second, the other screws that mount the motor. That will slacken the motor off, and then it should come out. Alright, you have, alright, here we go, look. 3, everything works backwards, screws, one on that side, one that side, and one on the top, which actually allow the motor to move on that plate. Just slacken them off and they'll come out. We'll do the same with the deck motor. Again, slacken the motor off, then take the two mounting screws out. There's one. That's two. Again, give it a little wiggle and the motor will unplug itself. And the belt, again, you can see I've slackened that off. I bring it inside here. You can see the belts in the bottom here. Let me have a, okay, you can see the belts here. There's one, that's the RA belt and the deck belt. Move the light over so you can see in here. And there's the other belt there, which is the deck. So now your motors are off, you can start taking it to bits. Okay, first up, that around, can you see? Yeah. You take, I'll tell you what size Allen key it is, hang on. In the end cap here, there are 3 grub screws to lock it in place. One there, one there, one there. Sorry if this focus is rubbish. You need to remove them. Okay. Should be 3 in there. This one seems to have 1, which is not good. And what is going on here? Well, it's not good. There's the other one. That one is out. That one is out. That one is now out. So this will now unscrew. Leave that. Take the weight bar with it. You see that? Just unscrew it. In there you'll find taper roller bearing, okay, that will just slide out of there. I'm hanging on to this because inside this cap it's a grub screw. Why there was only one in there, I have no idea. Obviously when this mount was modded, someone failed to put them back. Bit of kitchen roll. I'll just put the bearing down there. Okay. Right. That leaves the deck shaft free. What you need to do, let me show you this, is take a screwdriver on your locking can, just undo it. Don't need to take it right off. Pull the lever forward so it will clear the stop and unwind it a couple of turns. Okay. Okay, right. Top of the mount. 4 large. Oh, he likes going for a walk. Right, you have 4 large Allen screws. Take them out. So, now the whole of the deck shaft will come out, he says. Right. Let me just what I'm doing is I'm just slackening off the grub screws which adjust the backlash. So, right. There we go. Right, that is your deck shaft. This is your belt. If I lift it up you might even be able to see it. Worm and pinion gear, which is belt driven. Put that one side for now and we'll start on the RA. Okay, let me see what we do. First thing, remove the cover and we're going to take the poloscope out. Okay, grab hold and just twist and it will unscrew. Right, put that somewhere safe. Right, what I really need is to undo this. I can wind it back so you can see what I'm talking about. Take this elevation screw right out and the mount tip right back. You can see what I'm doing hopefully. Right, there we go. can see in the end of there, 3 little screws that cover this cap. You need to take those out. Ordinary little Phillips screws. Two, three. That'll release this collar. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing. Right, that takes that collar off. Put that somewhere safe. You have a collar here. Again, 1, 2, 3 grub screws, which you are going to remove completely. Down to your 2mm Allen key. These have to come right out. Purely to stop any chance of you destroying the thread that's inside there. 1, actually I think it's 4. 2. 3. Yep, there's 4. There we go. So we're going to undo these and take them right out. There we go. Now you've got to unscrew this and it's going to be tight. You can either use like a nylon strap that you use for taking oil filters out of a car, but I actually made myself a special tool, okay, which fits over there. You can take one of these grub screws, insert it back into where it came from, just enough to stop the tool sliding round, and then you can undo it. Alright, take that out again, take the tool off, put that safe. Now this will just unscrew. Again, take a roll of bearing will come out underneath. Just find somewhere nice and safe to put that. Okay. That bearing doesn't actually fit on there, it's just stuck with the grease. Alright, that way. So there we go. Pop that somewhere safe. Again, locking lever. Just slacken it off so it will clear the stop. And you can unwind it a couple of times. Hopefully. That's it. It just stops. Inside here there's a screw thread with a brass plug on the end, and it jams up against your clutch inside. If you slacken it off, it makes sure nothing untoward will happen when you remove this. Now then, I'm going to have to put this back in. Normally I'd do this on a tripod away from the bench, and obviously don't need to be looking at Okay, one swift tap on the bottom there, and this will come out here. There we go. And that is your RA and top end all complete. If I show you what we've got here, you can see. Let me just. Great. Oh, we've got to come up a bit so you can see. There we go. Right. Take off. This is just your calibration gauge ring. Okay, note the numbers. Hang on, let me show you. See this? Right. The increment numbers 16, 17, 18, all the way around go to the top as you look at it when you reassemble it. But that's in a little while. Right, let me. I can turn this camera down a bit. There we go. Now, again, I'm going to slacken off the grub screws that we use when we take the backlash out. Backlash even. Once they're slackened off, you can then undo your 4 main bolts, Allen bolts that hold the worm gear casting on. 1, 2, 3. Can you actually see what I'm doing? No, probably not. Let me turn that around. Oh, there we go. And you remove the 4 large Allen bolts again. Right. Once you've done that, the casting will lift off with your worming gear. And slacken these off some more. And then that will lift clear there. Okay, there's your worm and get pin worm again. This is your clutch. It's a straight drum. It will lift off of here, but I'll have to remove these bearings first. I'm going to get some kitchen roll, get the grease off my ends. Okay. Just take a screwdriver gently. Get this bearing off. There he goes. As you can see what I'm doing here. There you go. Right. Let me come down so you can see what I'm doing. Oh, take this bearing off. Okay. And that, I'll just clean the grease off it. Okay. There we go. Right. We come down so you can see what I'm doing here. Take this bearing off. Okay. And that, we'll just clean the grease off it. Okay. And that, I'll just clean the grease off it. Okay. go back in the top of our mount. Let me grab the camera and you can see, yeah, this sits just inside the top of the mount here. Okay, has to go in square. I want to put that back in. Let me just put that camera back there. Right. Very useful tool is a brass drift. I'm disappearing off camera for a second. Just a brass drift. Very gently. Put the bearing back in the casing. Okay. Right. Now we can come back to this. The clutch run, let me go round there, has a nylon PTFE washer on there. That comes off. Okay. This has got 3 of them. Interesting. Yeah. Right, what we need to do again, clean off all the old grease and crap in here, in the teeth. We just need to make sure all the teeth are clean. But I'm actually going to leave this on top of it because there's really no need to take it off. Let me sit down there. Right. Now we turn our attention to the worm. Ah, there we go. Okay. This is the problem with this mount. Alright. If I can, if you see this shaft, what was happening was it was running away, it wasn't tracking properly. This is the RA, and what you can see is this gear is actually loose on this shaft. Hence why all the backlash thing happens occasionally. What we need to do is tighten up the lock and grub screws on this gear back onto the shaft. There's 2 of them in there. Well, in this one's case, there's only 1. Jeez. Right. So we need to tighten that right up. No more play, no more backlash. What we will have to do is find another grub screw to go in there. It might be, that one was been stripped right out. Oh, it has got one, it's stripped out. Right, that has cured this mount's problem. So we're going to clean it all off, re-grease and put it back together. Right. Okay, here we go. Now we use lithium based grease. I'm going to grease up the pinion wheel, load it up. We're also going to put some grease on the worm. Again, load it up. You don't need that much on the worm because it will soon spit it out. Right. Now this can go back together. What you have to make sure, can you see this? The belt on here has to go through this hole when you put it back together. Alright? Stay there. Put something under there to hold it. So you can see what we're doing. Okay. So this goes back on top of there, making sure the belt goes through that slot. Okay. And you can put your 4 Allen bolts back in the top. And this time, when we do these up, we line this up. What we need to do is just put them in and feel them up. Don't tighten them up because we want the casting to be able to move when we adjust the backlash. So pop those 4 in. Literally just touch them up. Okay. Make sure you put, oh, I'm in the wrong place here, the nylon washers back on where they came off, because that actually spaces out the height of this above. I normally they only have 1, but I assume when this was belt modded somebody's put extra in. Okay, this can now slot back into there after you put the top on. Alright. Pop that back on. Pinch them up. Okay. Right. Now that can just drop back into there. Go back through that bearing. And that will sit back down like that. Alright. And we're just going to reverse the process of what we did before. When we put this back together, just take this out, screw out again. That's it. Right. of the bearing, which we'll clean the grease out of. And then we're going to re-grease that with the lithium grease. You can see that. Where are we? There we go. Load it up. Again, I'm using a lightweight. It's a PTFE lithium grease because it's not affected by moisture or temperature, and that just slides straight into there like that. Alright, okay, take your collar, clean the grease off it, and we're going to screw the collar back onto there. Alright. Okay, and again, this needs to go out, back up fairly tight. So we're going to take the grub screw using my tool. Just locate that. Stop the tool turning. Now we can just do it up. Okay. Alright. Take the grub screw out so I can take the tool off again. Now we can put these 4 grub screws. Yeah, put the 4 grub screws back in and lock them back off on the shaft. One. 2. Right. 4 is going to be on the other side. Tighten them up. You don't have to be murderously tight, they're just there to stop anything coming undone. 2, 3, 4. Right. Now we shall put the collar back on and just get some of the grease off my hands again. Take your collar again. Marker point goes to the top. That will sit on there. And we just put the 3 screws back in. 2, and the third one in the bottom. Tighten them up. That's it. Right. Now you want to clean the grease or any dirt off the threads and in here. Alright. Once you've done that, you can put your polar scope back in. Pop him in, tighten him up, and you can put your cover back on. That'll protect it. And give it clean. Right, let me just screw this back in. Set that up again. Right. Wind your clutch lock back in, and then you can do the screw up. Okay. Off. On. There you go. Right. Now we're going to do the same with the deck. This is the deck, and it will actually all pull off of here. Again, this is in for repair, but alright. Again, says nylon washers. Take that off first. Put it somewhere safe. Now this will actually pull off of here a whole lot, including the clutch. Can you see that? Yeah. Oh, and that's your clutch, which will come out of there. Then there's a bearing in the bottom of there, which normally stays inside the clutch drum, but in this case it hasn't. Okay, lift the clutch drum out. Alright, and we're going to clean this up and re-grease it. Again, make sure all the teeth are clean. Inspect them, make sure there's no damage. Once you've done all that, that's fine. Again, let me just turn this camera around a bit. Now, worm gear, again, make sure this gear is tight. Remove the grease, just put a rag on it and spin it, and it will take all the grease out of that. Clean it up. Right, now we're going to put it back together. Grease the worm. See that? That's it. Then we're going to grease the pinion. There. See what I'm doing here. Grease that pinion up. There we go. Right, put it back together. Exactly the same as you took it apart. Put reverse. Put your casting on. The clutch from over the cast. And that will then slot back into here. And hopefully back over that bearing. Like I say, normally those bearings come out with the clutch drum, but this one decided it wasn't going to. Just need to take these. Clutch screw back out to the clearance. There it goes. Okay. Again, remember to put your nylon washers back on. We'll just drop over there, drop into there, like that. Okay. We've got some hydraulic going on with the bearing. Take that bearing out. Bear with me a minute, we've got some issues going on here. We just need to lift this back up again. There's so much grease in here. It's actually hydraulic in the bearings. So what's actually happening here is the air is getting trapped between the two, and it's creating a pressure between them. Okay. Well, let's take this bearing right off. Okay. Then we can put that one right the way back down. Okay. Get rid of some of the grease out of this. You don't need grease on the outside of the bearings because they don't actually go anywhere. Right, let's try that again. Just use a large nylon into the as you can see, it's a perfect fit. There we go. Right, oh, it's still hydraulic. Well, that will get taken out when we put it back together. Again, nylon washer, back on, and then can now slot this back into the top of here, making sure, I'm going to show you this, the belt again goes through this hole. Alright. Otherwise, when you go to put the motors on, you'll find the belt isn't there and you're going to swear. Let me just put that like that. Right, let me drop this back into here. And that will just locate into there and drop down like that. Okay. Put your 4 large screws back in the top. Again, only loosely. Just feel them up because again we're going to need to adjust the backlash. One. 2. 3 and 4. Again, feel them up, not tight. Right, we can spin this round. Bearing off the other end. Okay, clean it up, re-grease it. Plenty of grease. Load it up. That just slides in here again. Push it home. And clean it. Mess off your fingers. And then take your weight bar with your collar. And we're going to screw this back in. Make sure it is no more. Pop that into there. And then that will screw back onto there. And that will just pull it all together. Like that. Again, fairly tight. It's pretty free. It's a bit of trial and error on this one because this one can actually pull up too tight. Lock it off. Right. Then you need to put, well, what should be 3 grub screws back in, but because I only have 1, I'll put it in. I'll find some more for this after I've done this video, save wasting time, etc. Lock it off again. Do all 3, but obviously I can't. Right, last thing you need to do, spin it round so you can see what I'm doing. Tighten up the clutch lever. Okay, screw it back in. tighten them up. Right, make sure it works. Okay, right, and now we're going to take the backlash out. You should all know how to do this by now. 2 grub screws, top and bottom, tightening the curved end one up, removes backlash by pulling the worm into the gear. You just rock that, you can see it rocking. I just start tightening that up. What this actually does, just pull the casting forward. And bingo, it's gone. Back it off a little bit. We tighten the back one up. It will loosen. These work to sort of push-pull scenario. Turn it around so you can actually get. We tighten this. You only need to move these a tiny amount, right, to introduce a lot of effect. If you want to slacken it off, undo the top one, quarter of a turn, and then do the bottom one up a quarter of a turn. Excuse me. That would introduce time. Anyway, do the both RA and the deck to your heart's content. Well, I'd normally spend a couple of hours doing this, but obviously for the sake of the length of this video I won't. But again, adjust up until all the backlash is gone. Okay, and again, just spin it that way. Once all the backlash is out, you can tighten the 4 main screws up, and hopefully you won't have to do it again. That'll do for now. Right, I'm sorry, so I'll go back and I will do that over and over again, running it through its full motions, running it round, make sure there's no tight spots. But I will do that with the scope fully loaded with the weights, scope on top, and then I'll just literally keep running it backwards and forwards, removing or increasing, decreasing the backlash until it'll go through its full range of motions without locking up. Right, now the fun bit comes. What we have to do, we have to put the motors back in, and this is a laugh because you're totally blind. Make sure the belts are through. Okay, we'll start with the deck motor, and what you actually have to do is you have to get them through these things. Let me show you. There are 2 rollers on here, right, and how I do that is I will remove the motor completely from the bracket. Alright, use the right power screw, it will help. So take these 3 screws out. Alright. Right. take those 3 screws out, so the motor is completely free. You just want the bracket. The rollers go on the inside. Now this is the fun bit. What I use, I should have got these out previously, so I started in this. Somewhere in the toolbox of mine. Oh, bear with me. Right, I have a pair. These are spring operated tweezers. And what I'm going to do, I don't know if I can do this with the camera and everything else, but we'll have a go. Right. You see the belt there? I'm going to pull that belt. Yeah. Forward using an Allen key, and I'm going to grip the bottom of the belt with the tweezers. Right. Let me just show you what I'm doing here. Okay. Where are we? See the tweezers? I've nipped the belt with the tweezers. This will allow me to drop this over the tweezers and leave the belt in between the rollers. Like I said, this is the fiddliest job on the planet. Alright, drop that up in there. Right. When you get there, what you're going to need to do is put one of the locating Allen screws back in. Good tip here, when you're putting these back in, you do not want to drop them. Right, bit of grease on the end of your Allen key, it will stick. Alright, there you go, the Allen bolt will stick on there, and then you can put that back in there. And just gently put that back in. Don't do it up tight, otherwise you'll be in a world of pain. Again, right, if I show you what's going on in here, hopefully you'll be able to see this and get some light in there. Right, see, that belt has to run between those two rollers. Okay. So, okay. Take that off. Again, just use, as you can see what I'm doing. Very difficult. Where are we? There we go. See that? Between the rollers. Again, use your Allen key. Make sure it's between the rollers and you've got a nice big loop on it. Because now the fun really starts. You have got to get this gear through that loop. Alright? It's wonderful. Now then, here we go. I'll have to put the camera back down to do this. Good way of doing this. I need to take out one of these caps. Okay. Take out an end cap and you'll see the shaft here. You just need to get hold of that shaft and turn it with your fingers. Not much. And you will see, if I can get this to locate, it will help explain what I mean. So, let me just put a mountain screw back in. See, what you really need to do this is a pet octopus. Alright. Flat bladed screwdriver against the back of the motor. We're going to have to square it up a bit. Put these others back in. Now I know this is actually engaged because I will show you how I know in a second. But I want to get these screws back in here so there's no messing about. Right, now I'll show you what I was doing. If you turn this shaft, if you look on the back of the motor, you will see the motor turn if the belt is engaged properly. Alright, so just slacken them off. And I'm going to need to tighten these. I'm going to put the screwdriver in the back and just force the motor forward like this. God. Shove that forward up like that. Do the locking screws up. Alright, now we need to tighten up. We'll slacken off the motor screws. Come on. So now we can move the motor forward. Pair of pliers. Right, let me just pinch that up. I'll show you again. Right. Again, twisting the shaft, watch the end of the motor, and you'll see the motor turn when you turn this shaft. I don't know if you can see that. That will tell you the belt is engaged. Otherwise, you're going to have to take it all off and do it again. And it's not fun, as you've just witnessed. Tension wise, again, just take the tension up a little bit. You don't need, this doesn't need to be monstrously tight, just enough that the belt doesn't have any slack in it per se. But not too tight that you'll put an undue tension on it. Right, that is number one in. Now all we've got to do is the other one. Again, remove the motor from the back plate. I normally find, well, I'm not going to say it because I'll probably end up eating me words, but I normally find this one, the RA, is a bit more cooperative. So again, remove the motor from the back plate. Same setup, two rollers which are underneath that the belt passes through. So again, tweezers, grab the belt, take the back plate, drop it over the tweezers and onto where it's got to go. That's it. Oh, I've lost the belt. Again. Missed it again. Told you I'd eat my words, didn't I? Right. Bit of grease. Feel it out. Yeah, other plate location screw. Okay. Again, take the cover off. So you can get to the shaft. Again, motor. Back through that loop. Let's show you that loop. You might be able to see it better than the other one. Can you see that loop in there? That's what you're aiming for. Like I said, it's... Come on, get on there. Right. Okay, let me just have a... That's it. Again, see this. See the motor turn? You turn the belt. That's what you're after. Okay. Just put that back. Right. We'll put the other two mounting screws in. And the last one. Don't do them right up tight. Again, we're going to tension that belt. Put the blade in the back of the motor against the case and just twist. And it will just put enough tension on that belt. So, tighten up. Fixing bolts. So, at this stage, make sure they do move the motors. Okay, you can see the mount moving. Alright. Okay, last and not least, we have to put the motorboard back in. Now, the RA motor cable should, if it's put back properly, it will go through this hole here, goes inside the board, and then pop out up under here. That way it can't foul anything when the mount's running. Alright, that goes through there. Through the top, and then plugs in. They are marked up on the back of this board. Hang on, let me just plug this in and I'll show you. In case you were wondering, get the camera, they are actually marked on the board, RA and deck. So you can't get them in the wrong way. Deck motor plugs in there. And last but not least is this little one, which is the LED for the periscope. Right, just plugs on there. Okay, you can see those. Back in, deck one's in, LED in the middle, RA on the other side. Now you need to carefully feed this lot back into here. Alright. It's a bit of a wiggle fit, but it will go back in. It's not a hell of a lot of room. Make sure you don't trap any wires under here. Alright, so just make sure they all disappear in. That's it. Then you can put your 4 screws back in, your cover plate. And that is that. Put your caps back on. that is how you service an NEQ6. So if you need any help, you get any problems, just drop me a line and I'll sort you out as best as I can. Okay, thank you very much.